will know.
No, of course, the one thing is, of course, that he has all of this knowledge, but the other part is also being able to make it relevant for anybody else. Like I know somebody knows a lot about something. Okay, fine, I don't know so much about it, but then he actually makes you so curious about it.
You're
Thank
live now, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. A very, very good evening to everyone who's still with us after this long day, but a day which has been hugely exciting, which has been beyond any expectations that we could have had from this, the plans that we made for it, all the preparation that was done for this. It could have never prepared us for this amazing outcome that we've had throughout the day. I am speaking on a very personal basis to say that I thought that, come 5:30 in the evening, I'm going to be completely drained and exhausted after the full day of sessions that we were having. But honestly, I feel completely invigorated, bright, and even more hungry to get more, to understand more. And what has been tremendous in this day is the participation of all of our young leaders, our young yuva, and all the bright young minds across the country. And I'm so glad that we've been able to put this together. And I sincerely hope that we have been able to also create a similar feeling, a similar response within each one of you. If we've left you even a little bit hungry, a little bit curious to know more from any one of the sessions or any of the topics that we've picked on today, if you've been able to progress and form any ideas, firm up any resolves that perhaps were left untapped, then it's a huge achievement for us. And honestly, we will go away from this day charged up, even more keen to do more, even more willing to create more such opportunities. And of course, for us as young Indians, the entire fraternity of CII, there have been tremendous takeaways from this day. And of course, the entire journey that has led us to this day. So I'm actually going to invite my two friends here today, Mr. Ronak Goyal, who's the Vice Chairman of CII Young Indians, and Mr. Dilip Krishna, who's our very bright and vibrant National Chair of Yuva, our vertical which actually looks after our Yuva membership. And we want to spend a little time trying to discuss what it was that we thought that we will get from this session, and what we're feeling, while we're coming to the close of this, and what lies ahead, because as we've said time and time again, whether it was when we were reaching out to all our young minds, or whether it was when we were reaching out to all the leaders within YI, we said that everything is not going to stop after this event is over. It's only going to start once this event is done. And this, for us, is a huge journey that begins today, something that we've set out to achieve, something that we've just touched the surface of, scratched the surface of, really. And for that, Ronak, I wanted to have a little chat with you and discuss about what do you think, do you remember when we started planning this event? This is an event that is possibly germinated in the minds of one of our, or some of our past national chairs, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And then when, this was something that we planned for this year, I'd love for you to share some of those thoughts.
So, Smita, Dilip, if you remember, the first future which we had was in Navi Mumbai, which was a physical event. And we always wanted to make it larger than life kind of event. But being a physical event always had its constraints. So we can't have 10,000, 20,000 people attending a physical event. But I think this pandemic taught us how to do things online. And this in turn gave us an opportunity to do everything online, where people from, students and you are from 55 chapters have come together to ideate, to think, and to decide what the future they want to be and what they are looking for in the future.
Thank you, Ronak. Absolutely. I think what we can definitely at least count as one of our blessings, or maybe a silver lining to the cloud that all of us are living in the last 15 to 18 months, is the fact that we've also found a way around the challenges that the pandemic has thrown us. And that shows, the resilience of definitely the human race, and of course us as Indian people, and young Indians of course are even more motivated to always find a solution and to work around whatever the world throws at them. Dilip, I think this particular idea of resilience, of finding a way, and of staying motivated is also a very strong aspect of how we position our yuva or how we think of them. And is that something that you would like to, share a little bit more about? Because what is it that moves this yuva and this huge mammoth force of all of these young people linked together across the country?
Well, I think when this whole event happened in Navi Mumbai, we were just as a silent observers watching the students going into each sessions and participating and coming out with excitement. But always the feel was, how can we reach out to more? you know because students did have the constraint of coming to one place, because either they have to convince their parents or they need to convince their institution. That's where the whole challenge came in. But how do we really make it a point that it happens, we are able to reach? Because more and more when we speak to students, they have like our previous speaker Shubkunal Verma was talking about, the students are having less baggage. And if we can create a platform to really listen to the voice of the youth, and I think we will have solutions for many of our problems which our nation is facing. I think that's where the whole thought process of this happened. The Youth Conclave, the future happened, saying that how do we really create a platform to really listen to their voice? I like that seventh standard student stands up and asks this question, like that, how can we create an opportunity for this youth of our country to ask those thought-provoking questions? Why not? As we grow, we come with so much of baggage. We grow with so much of baggage where we put ourselves into a shell, and we have the questions and we have the answers for it too. But the students have very little baggage, so or no baggage. So the brilliant ideas can really come out from them. So that's where this whole youth conclave, the future is. But as we said, this is just the starting point. It's just an inauguration, I would say. I think the work starts now. The real work starts now, because when we say the future is not an event, it is a project, we really mean it. Because I know all the 55 chapters have done some phenomenal work from 1:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., putting their students. Many did it virtually, many did it physically, many did it in a hybrid model. I think we all are waiting to listen to the outcome of these sessions. What did the youth, what was the outcome from each of the sessions? What are those ideas which is evolved from it? So I think this is just the beginning. We have to bring it to a meaningful conclusion.
Well, honestly, when you say that, Dilip, I'm going to say that I honestly don't think there is a conclusion to this, because this is sort of an ongoing journey, and hopefully generation after generation will keep taking this baton and moving forward. And one thing that you said very interesting, and which I felt also throughout the day and in the past 2-3 days when we've been preparing for this event, is that it's uncanny how much insight and how much intellectual capacity the younger people come with. Because when we spoke to them, whether it was in the Sonu Sood session, whether it was in Dr. Sanjeev Chopra's session, and even the mention that Mr. Shubkunal Verma did to the class 7 student, we realized that when the young people come to the forefront, whether it is the questions that they ask or the ideas that they propose or the possibilities that they explore, they come with, like you said, a lot less baggage. And then they position things or question things in a manner that sometimes, and I call myself a young Indian, it is a privilege, but I know it's a long extension, or really pushing the word young to its limit by titling myself as a young person. But Ronak, do you think this is also something that as young Indians we are really benefiting and privileged to be in a space where we can actually even learn and get this new mindset from the younger minds, who are maybe in some ways miles ahead of us in terms of their thinking and their capabilities?
So of course, yes, Smita, I think, and I often tell this to you also, that I feel our generation changes every 5 years now. The times are moving so fast. And listening to someone who is 18, 20, 25, even 30 and 35, they carry a very different mindset, the way they think, the way they talk, and their whole mindset, their whole thought process is so different. So definitely, yes, conversing with them and talking to them, you learn so much, which I don't think so. Being in our own friend circle or even in our daily business routine, we get a chance to interact with them. So yes, this kind of event, this kind of project where we actually get to know what they want, I think it is phenomenal. I mean, there are no words to explain. And very honestly, what I really wanted out from this event was, you know it very well. Like, we have our projects, which is gift and organ, accessibility, road safety, Masoom, and climate change. So when students, when you are, they are talking about future of health, I want to know where they want to take gift and organ as. And when they are talking about future of infrastructure, whether can we adopt accessibility as the future of infrastructure, where they are talking about future of travel, whether they are thinking about road safety in their mind as future of travel, and similarly future of life, whether they are thinking about climate change, and not just that, whether they are talking about thinking about one more project which is really close to our heart is Masoom, and whether they are thinking about child sex abuse as one of the key factors where future of life can be made better.
Yeah, totally agree with you. I think that that's a very important thing that you just said, that what we wanted out of this event. And what I'm going to say is that the architect of this version of the future which is happening on the 12th of August 2021, is absolutely Mr. Dilip Krishna. And he's the one who's kind of had this entire concept put together and, actually not just only thought about it, but really went the last mile and executed it. And like he said in his own words, the task is not over, it's only just begun. So, Dilip, could you help us understand what is the way forward and what are we going to do after this?
Okay, I think if you okay, you said I'm the architect, but actually, when this whole event happened in Navi Mumbai, I still remember the conversation which I had with Anush, Anush Ramaswamy, because that was the year I'm going to take over as a Yuva chair, and Anush came and told this future should be scaled up. It should not be an event which is happening in Navi Mumbai. You should think about a scale. That was the thought which was seeded in 2020. I think it took some time to. So all thanks to Anush for that thought at that point of time. How do we want to see the whole objective of doing this, the future in these 7 themes, and particularly in the format of design thinking, huddle, or a blue ocean, or a boardroom discussion format, is because in these 3 formats gives an opportunity for the students to think outside the box. It facilitates a method that the whole format is in a facilitation format where we allow those students to think big, think actually outside the box. So and we have also given all the chapters the format in which they could copy, in which they can register all those ideas which are evolving out of this session. I think what should be the next call for action is collate those ideas which has evolved from the session. So the format, what we are given is that one big idea which is evolved out of the session, the thought behind that big idea, and why did that whole thought evolve. So that is the format. Thanks to Chandra once again, because Chandra is the person who gave us that format in a very simple 15 minutes meeting. So I think we need to capture those ideas which has evolved, and if we could have these ideas of what is evolved from future of all the 7 themes, whether from the health to infrastructure, travel, life, education, technology, and agriculture. In all these 7 themes, we would need to capture those ideas which has evolved out of the sessions brilliantly done by all our chapter leadership across the nation, collated as one book which is going to be a repository of ideas, and go back to all the key stakeholders, all the influencers and the key decision makers in our country, and go back and tell them this is what the youth of our country is thinking. This is what the youth of our country is dreaming. Saying, standing at 75, what should be the future of our India at 100? These are the ideas. I think three things can come out of this whole thing. One, it gives YI a huge roadmap moving forward. What should be the kind of projects or the projects which we need to start taking forward if you need to make YI a movement. Second, it gives a repository of thought for the national leadership and the state leadership, where they can pick up some leaves from these books, saying that what are those ideas which can be taken and made it as a project across the nation to make our nation a better place to live. And third, it could, again, apart from the 5 projects, there are 2 major things which we work on is innovation and entrepreneurship. And these repository of ideas can again give back to YI a huge opportunity for entrepreneurship.
Thank you, Dilip. I think that's really spot on, and I think yes, that is definitely the way forward for all of us. We have committed to something like this, but what we also need from all our young friends today is that they also take a commitment to make sure. I think there have been so many things that have been discussed today, and whether it was listening to Sonu Sood in the morning talking about responsible leadership, the youth taking up responsibility, and something that he said was resonated so strongly, because we always postpone this. We say, okay, when we are going to be settled in life, or we're going to have a business or earn certain amount of money, then we are going to start doing this thing, whether it's doing good, helping the community, taking responsibility for others, or being a leader. We are only going to do it when we reach a certain stage. But he said that's not the way to do it. You can even start today. And that's possibly the one most important message that I hope will go out to all our viewers today, that you don't wait for this to happen or something to be achieved. The time to start this, any resolve that you have, any idea that you have for your future and that of our country, is today. And what I'd like to also mention is that there is this body called CII, which is our parent body, the apex organization for the industry in our country today. And fortunately, we are very fortunate to have this body which gives us the autonomy and which gives us the arena to do all of these things and to explore all of these ideas and options for the youth, on behalf of the youth, and also empower them to go forward in this manner. And we are really fortunate to have with us here the CII president for this year, Mr. TV Narendran, who's also the managing director of Tata Steel. And we'd like to close the day with this amazing address by Mr. Narendran. So I'd request, please, for Mr. Narendran's address to be played, please. Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure for me to share this platform with all the young Indians who've joined to celebrate the power of youth, with your vision to aspire for a future which will be shaped by enthusiasm, contributions, and energy, and committing to making a positive difference in your spheres of influence. As we congregate today to hear the voice of the youth, your ideas and the thoughts for the future, I'm filled with pride, hope, gratitude, and positivity for the future of our nation. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate YI for conceiving of this unique platform, The Future, which has brought youth from across YI's 55 locations and more, covering the length and breadth of the country, on a common agenda of building a participatory dialogue on key themes of future of health, infrastructure, travel, life, agriculture, technology, education, because these are pillars that will shape the future of our country and that of the world. I eagerly look forward to the outcome of this initiative, which is truly capturing the voice and contribution of the youth as India turns 75 and looks ahead to India at 100. As the world looks towards engaging the youth in shaping the future, CII Young Indians continues to strengthen its focus and mission on being the organization of significance to lead with the voice of youth and shape a strong, sustainable future for the country. I congratulate the YI leadership, Smita and Ronak, and all members of the YI fraternity for imbibing these values core to building an equitable future. As the world around us changes, India has great potential to lead with its strong principles and foundation of democracy and a rich cultural heritage. Given India's young demographic profile, the need for creation of responsible, conscientious, and dynamic youth leaders capable of leading us towards an equitable society is all the more important. Emerging from a devastating second wave, there is increased awareness of the importance of disciplined adherence to the COVID SOPs, better preparedness, and also increasing the coverage of vaccination. Along with the easing of regulations on economic and social activities, uptake in consumer and household spending, and the envisaged public expenditure outlay, sector-based reforms, liquidity-boosting measures, and targeted interventions with a special focus on tourism, healthcare, and small borrowers, there is growing optimism that we should end up with a growth of at least 9.5% for 21-22. To ensure that all sections of society are included in this economic growth, it is imperative to keep our focus on building India for a new world with a strategy that enables and propels competitiveness, growth, sustainability, and technology. These constitute the CII's theme for this year. And for this, we need to work in partnership with the government, industry, and all stakeholders, of which youth is a very important constituent. Inclusivity and access to livelihoods are critical in this equation for India to leverage and benefit from the demographic dividend. We are seeing the impact of demography on major economies across the world as they re-strategize policies towards leveraging the youth and investing in youth to enhance the capability and ability to contribute economically and socially will be a key differentiator for India as well. It is paramount that engagement by the youth in policy dialogues is actively pursued by YI, as it will build a more inclusive response in the realm of public policy for the country. Another critical aspect that needs to be actively pursued for realizing inclusive growth is capacity building and skilling of youth with new age skills, including vocational skills. Building strengths around vocational skills is intrinsic to robust entrepreneurship ecosystem. The Indian MSME sector, which is a backbone of the Indian economy, is entirely based on this entrepreneurial acumen and ability. The Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan is also a big focus area of the government in recognizing the power of youth and enabling the creation of this pool of youth leaders who can build solutions for inclusive economic development in the country. YI is an important contributor and partner to CII and can take an active role in promoting a creative and innovative thinking mindsets amongst youth and children, B, creating platforms to support startups and building entrepreneurs, C, promoting sustainability through awareness, action, and advocacy across all dimensions of economic and social activity among citizens, and D, scaling technological solutions to improving the quality of life and access to economic opportunities and services, especially for the rural communities. More specifically, I envision a few key initiatives which YI must lead as it continues to scale and grow across the country. One, it can take up initiatives for the youth to integrate and participate in the changing landscape of economic activity being transformed by future businesses, future jobs, and future skills. Two, it can work on agendas for developing socially responsible leadership and enterprise based on inclusivity and equity and catalyzing the move towards sustainable and socially responsible development. Three, YI can engage in building a healthy India through promoting sports and culture of playing sports, which is vital to the holistic development of young people and builds healthier, safer, and happier societies. Four, we live in a hyper-connected world today, and as a country in which the youth is a majority, it is important to find a balance between the digital and the physical world, and building mental health and internal resilience in the younger generation is a key intervention which must be actively supported and promoted. Five, being a harbinger of ideas, creativity, and energy, YI has built a unique platform to bring together the youth to share, learn, and bond. And I congratulate YI for aspiring to be YI at 75 as India turns 75. Today's event will be an important and path-breaking exercise in listening to the voice of the youth. Their ideas and dreams for a future that they wish to create are a very significant first step. The voice should be spread far and wide and be heard across the nation so that these ideas can be converted into action to realize this future. I look forward to the outcome of the future dialogues with the youth, which will serve as important inputs for CII's policy recommendations and strengthen the engagement with youth on issues shaping the future and build diversity of views for enabling the change that is inclusive and representative of the India we are aspiring and working towards. Thank you once again, and wishing YI and the Future Youth Platform all the very best. Thank you.
So finally, what a wonderful end to such a fruitful day. All sessions shall be live on YouTube and Hive. So if anyone who's missed some of the sessions and you want to watch it again, you can visit YouTube and Hive and watch them. Time for a final vote of thanks. I want to thank our speakers for today, Mr. T.V. Narendran, President CII, Mr. Sanjeev Bajaj, President Designate CII, Mr. Chandrajit Banerjee, Director General CII, Mr. Sonu Sood, Mr. Rajan Navani, Chairman CII, Council on India at 75, and Vice Chairman and Managing Director, Jetline Group of Companies, Mr. Arun Maira, Management Consultant, former member of Planning Commission of India, and former Indian Chairman of Boston Consulting Group, Mr. Shankar Panavarayar, past National Chair, CII Young Indians, Dr. Sanjeev Chopra, IS, former Director of Labasna, Mr. Vijay Anand Samudrala, President, New Energy, Amara Raja Batteries Limited, Mr. Vikramaditya Gorneni, Executive Director, Amara Raja Batteries Limited, Mr. Shivkunal Verma, Indian military historian, documentary filmmaker and author. A special thanks to Dr. Buddha Chandrasekhar, Chief Coordinator Officer of AICTE, for partnering with us. I also want to thank Mr. Virendra Gupta, Narayan, and Jacob for joining us in the morning. A special and warm thank you to our UA students, the youth of India, and all the institutions who are our partners. Without your participation in thousands, this whole effort of making it an outcome-driven project would not have been possible. Dilip and his entire UA team, thanks for being the torch bearer. Atin, Monil, Divya, Oren, Anand, Tiaga, Nishant, and Seshu. I know the hard work you guys have put in the last 8 months to plan this one day. Our regional chairs, Shreyansh, Rachna, Vishal, Vijay, Darshan, and Aditya, for the multiple calls and a continuous push. Our branding team, Rohit and Mehta's, entire NMT and GC members, our chapter chairs and co-chairs and their UA chairs for making this event the biggest event possible. It shows the power of 55 chapters together. Our sponsors, PTC Industries and Rajat Book Corner. And finally, our secretariat, our backbone, Radhika, Mayank, Siddhi, Achal, and Sandeep. All of you have been outstanding. Thank you all very much for joining us today. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you.